Hello, good day. This is Teacher Jerry again for Campus Journalism, and this time our topic will be about photojournalism. How do we take great photographs? What does it take for us to make great photographs? Now, this lesson will show you how we look at a photo, and even without training, we would know what is good or bad photo. This lesson will show you why it is good. What is a great photo worth? Now, this photograph, the one you're seeing in black and white, was taken in 1904, is only one of three in existence, and was sold at an auction in February 2006 for $2.9 million. We see that it's just a really simple picture photo, but why was it sold at such a very expensive price? What makes it pricey or expensive? Well, of course, it employs all the elements. It has, of course, all the compositions like balance, harmony, the use of framing, the contrast. We'll see all about those elements later. Now, what makes a great photo? Maybe it's a planned moment in time, whether that would be planned or unplanned, scripted or not. Or maybe one that is not. Of course, as a photographer, there are situations in which we cannot tell our subjects, like there's one in the photo, like the dolphins, to be coming closer for us to take a shot. Or maybe the play of brilliant colors. Or maybe hilarious, humorous, funny subjects. Or awe-inspiring views when you take shots through landscape. Good photos come from good composition. Whatever the subject is, good photos are effects of careful attention to some basic elements of composition. The point of composition is to create an image or picture or photo that will appeal to others through time. Appeal, meaning they look at that picture or that photo and then it will affect them emotionally. It will give them some sorts of feelings or memories, maybe. According to digital photo guides, composition can be defined as the pleasing selection and placement of subjects within the picture area. Now, here are the basic elements of composition. We will have POI, or points of interest, contrast, simplicity, rule of thirds, lines, balance, framing, mergers. And we'll be discussing one with examples. One point of interest, or POI, this simply means your subject. It's your subject. Identify the main points of interest that you want the viewer to see and compose the shot to show that. Just like in any fields of writing, when you talk about something, when you write about something, do not talk about something else. Don't go out of the topic. So focus on your subject. Ask yourself, what is the subject of this photo? And then work in that direction. Don't stray away from your subject. Now let's have the contrast. Contrast is simply the difference between light and dark. The higher the contrast, the better. A light subject will have more impact if it has a dark background. Likewise, if your subject is dark, it will have more impact if it has a light background. Simplicity. The simpler, the better, just like when we judge beauty or any piece of art. Simplicity is simply reducing clutter, trash, garbages in the photo. For example, you have to crop out things. You have to cut, do not include things that are not necessary. Or take a picture, or maybe you can just take a picture from another direction. Change your angle. Example here, you have here a man, that's your subject, then it is ruined, the picture is ruined because there is a very cluttered background. It gets in the way of your subject or your point of interest. How do we reduce clutter? You have to focus on your subject, on that one thing, or your subject, your point of interest. Are we Is our subject here in this photo here the cactus, the telephone, or the wall? So that's very cluttered. So there's no, we cannot tell which one really is your subject. So you have to focus by reducing clutter. There. So if our subject is a cactus, so focus on that. Do not include the clutter. And maybe if it's a bird, the branches make for a cluttered background. So what do? Of course, you cannot tell that bird or is that a dove to look at you or to change. It's you, the photographer, who's going to change your angle, change your direction. Whereas where you cannot take in your working view in your frame the those branches. So I believe this picture is better, the picture at the right. Now let's talk about the rule of thirds, the tic-tac-toe. It looks like a tic-tac-toe board. Here, you are going to divide your photo frame into 9 sections like tic-tac-toe board. Some digital cameras or some cameras, they already have this built in. You just click on that and this will just show. If none, so you just have to, that to make it imaginary. The main points of interest should be where the vertical and horizontal lines cross there somewhere at the center. The 4 grids where they meet, intersect. Your subjects should fall under in one of those intersections, not at the center. Here, you can have top right rule of thirds. There, or this. For horizons, you put the horizons on the bottom line, of course. Horizons, that's that line where the sky meets the sea. Bottom right rule of thirds with a room to walk. If it's a man or somebody or something, you have to give a wider space in that direction where she is moving towards. The same thing as this, you have to leave room for the gaze or direction of travel. Where somebody is looking at or moving towards, that part there should be made wider. Now let's talk about lines. Lines are very powerful also. So there are 4 types of lines: the vertical, horizontal, diagonal, and the S-curves. Every line means differently. Like diagonal lines mean they are dynamic, powerful, changing. The curves means grace. It means it's graceful. Of course, vertical lines means power and strength. Like in this flower and the bee something, the plants on the left and the downward bird create a vertical line. There's strength in that, there's power in that. Horizontal lines, oftentimes horizontal lines are dull unless combined with other elements. Let's talk about balance. Balance is actually with, simply put, what you see on top, you see below, what you see on the left, you also see at the right. Balance. There, balance is a correct combination of colors, shapes, and areas of light and dark that complement one another. Here, this photo is balanced top and bottom by the shadow, by the reflection. This photo balances 2 people on both sides. There are 2 on the left, there are 2 people on the right. The bike, it has 2 wheels, it's balanced by the 2 rakes at the right. Here, the big head is balanced by the 2 children at the right. Let's talk about framing, not the artificial framing where you put wood at the side. This is natural. It's a frame within a picture, frame within a frame. Framing means to place a center of interest in the middle with objects surrounding it, natural. This can give a picture the feeling of depth or dimension. Here, the boat or the sail is framed by the vegetation, the coconut trees. The lovers there are framed, our subject is framed by the buildings, the shadows, buildings, dark. Here, there's this white castle somewhere at the center, then it's framed by the doorway. How do we avoid mergers? Which mean that they could become clutters. Mergers are when a background interferes, they get in the way with the subject, ruining actually the subject. So therefore, what is behind people is very important. So before you click that shutter, you have to think first. Think before you click. Pause before you post. Now, that is not a hat. That's not a headdress. That's a palm tree. So that's a merger. So you have to reposition yourself. Now, taking good photographs, in conclusion, taking good photographs is a lifelong learning experience. You just have to think about what is happening around the subject before you click that shutter. That's what I said. Think before you click. Bye, bye, bye. Thank you so much.